everyone, it's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I each pick a film related in some shape or form. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you have two films to go check out. Now, this one's going to be an interesting if we recommend this because I don't even know what we watched. But
Oh, yeah, you didn't see.
joining me for this episode is my wife, Jess. Jess, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
And Jess picked Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me because she is on a big Twin Peaks.
Yeah, honestly, I just wanted to watch it, and I'm like, why not include Shane? And the answer is because he hasn't seen all of Twin Peaks, and I had to do a lot of splaining.
I've seen like a season and a half
Yeah,
of
the fact
Twin
that you've
Peaks.
seen most of it doesn't mean that you'll get all of it, unfortunately.
No, or any of it. But I paired it with Lost Highway because I'm like, let's do two David Lynch
I don't know
films.
that I understood that one any better.
We're gonna talk about it
Okay.
and we're gonna go from there. But Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me from 1992 is a prequel
Yep.
to the show.
It leads up
Laura
directly.
Palmer's harrowing final days are chronicled 1 year after the murder of Teresa Banks, a resident of Twin Peaks' neighboring town. So, double the murder, tons of the weird. But guess what were your general thoughts on Fire Walk with Me?
It made sense to me as someone who has seen the rest of Twin Peaks. I enjoyed it. I thought that it added a lot of depth to Laura Palmer and all the questions that you had. I was like, oh yeah, no, I can't, it's so obvious. It was this specific detail from like 2 minutes of the show in one episode. How could you not know that? I enjoyed it. I thought it was very much in the spirit of the show, perhaps a little weirder, and it's definitely more explicit. Like you could tell Twin Peaks is made for TV as opposed to this, which is not.
Yes, was filled with breasts.
Like some of the stuff they reference in the show is just in a passing glance, like a passing mention or whatever, like when they
Mhm.
talk about the exact details of the murder. Versus this one, it was very explicit.
Very
So I thought that
detailed.
was, necessary.
Well, what's interesting is because this has its own little prequel aspect of it, as it starts off with this meeting at an airport with David Lynch's
Yeah, the
character
FBI agents. Oh, Gordon.
with Gordon and his screaming
Love that guy.
and like unexpectedly seeing who were the two. Kiefer Sutherland was one of these agents,
Yeah, Sam and
and then it was a recognizable character actor, but like it starts off as like, oh, who are these guys?
Sam
And
and
then
Harry, maybe.
they're looking at this one murder. And then this film gets
The
so weird.
prequel murder.
Yes, the prequel murder of the prequel film. And at one point, one of their agents who's been like missing and disappeared just shows up and it's David Bowie. And it's just like
We were both like, is that David Bowie?
David Bowie's in there for like a scene. And it's just like, why was David Bowie
Yeah,
here?
I think that they were lampshading the Black Lodge. I think that's what that was, if I remember correctly.
Mr. Philip Jeffries.
Yeah, he just is like, Coop, this is my agent that's been missing.
Yep. And
More honestly, there's parts of the show that they just don't explain. The
but
log
like,
lady, nobody ever explains her.
well, I just watched a whole entire
That
documentary
actress,
about
that
the
was
actress, the log lady.
I cried.
But like it's very interesting because this really does flesh out exactly what happened with Laura Palmer. And I think Cheryl Lee does a really fine
Oh,
job
she's great.
anchoring this film down because she goes into a lot of dark places.
Oh, it's super dark.
She throws herself out there sexually. She winds up getting caught up in all these things and just seeing her. There's one particular scene with her and her father, Ray Wise's Leland, that's so disturbing. Like this film really goes there in terms of like really explicitly showing like all of this dark baggage that's kind of just looming over the original series. And
Um,
and Bob,
that one scene where he climbs over the couch in the original series scared the crap out of me.
and like he's a unnerving, terrifying figure.
Oh, he's intense. I don't know if that actor's been in anything else. I haven't recognized him in
Frank
anything else.
Silva, who's also an art director.
Oh, he wasn't very old.
I just see Bob, Bob,
Yeah.
Bob.
Oops, all Bob.
He worked on other David Lynch films, but yeah, he was only 44 and he passed away. I wonder how they handled that in the sequel series.
They credited him in that, I think.
Interesting. Jess hasn't
I
watched
haven't
that
seen it.
yet, so
I technically haven't even finished Twin Peaks.
but Jess looked up the rest of it.
I have anxiety.
So she knows what happens. But like this has a really strong cast and like it's a 2 hour and 15-minute film and it goes to some wild places and like was all of this necessary in this 2 hour and 50 minute
I mean, it's a
15-minute
David
film?
Lynch movie,
And
so
like at some level you're just like it's there, deal with it
yeah,
and
it's a David
move
Lynch
on.
movie. None of it is really necessary. Whatever.
And but I do find it interesting that this film has this direct setup to the original show. And I feel like if you have that connection with the original show, this will really flesh things out and build out your experience with them trying to figure out what happened to Laura Palmer. Because, like, I got at least far enough into the second season of Twin Peaks before we got so bombarded with other shows to catch up on that like I know Leland how Leland was involved and like Ray Wise is such an eerie presence. Like I've seen him
You were right when you said he looks kind of evil. It's the eyebrows, I think. He's
and
got very extreme
the
features.
slick back hair.
Yeah, he looks smarmy.
But like he's played the devil in an actual TV show before. And also one of Kurtwood Smith's henchmen in RoboCop. But like this film all the way up until the end, which is so disturbing. And like when the actual murder happens, and you're just like, this is disturbing,
Or
it's twisted.
I felt kind of bad because you didn't really know what was coming. Did you?
Well, she got
Did you remember?
murdered. Like the
No,
show starts with her getting murdered.
there's more stuff involved in it, but I understand that point.
Well, and then it starts building out this connection between her and Coop and
Goop.
how
Yeah,
that kind of sets up the
they
show.
show the red room, that dream that he has in like the
Mhm.
beginning of the show.
And the little person who the
Yeah, they recorded them talking backwards to try to get him to sound kind of creepy, but still kind of like something.
Michael J. Anderson, Man from Another Place.
Yeah.
Nos and
Yeah, that's they recorded. Yeah, that was so interesting too in the documentary where Laura Palmer in the dreams like I'll see you in 25 years, and that's
Ekalp Ren Mum for Nem.
we love nailed it.
There we go. But no, it sets this film. If you just want an experience that's gonna just delve out nonstop harrowing imagery, like this film does. Like
I mean, it's David Lynch.
this is gonna put you on edge. This is thriller and psychological thriller to the max.
Realistic violence, I guess.
And it's horrific at times, it's unnerving at times, it's completely perplexing at times.
Spiritual in a way.
And there's something just so unique about a David Lynch film that like it's hard not to want to experience it at least once. Just from like a cinematic standpoint, like as a cinephile, like watching David Lynch films, I'm like, did I like this?
I like it more than
did I understand all of this?
Yeah.
But
well,
like
he doesn't want you to. Well, he does, but he wants you to interpret it your own way. That's why in those interviews and it was like
it took me 4 times watching Mulholland Drive to feel like I'm finally like grasping the experience for what it is. But like any given scene has something interesting to give you as a viewer.
Symbolism.
Even just from like a experiential standpoint, like thriller and horror and laughter. Like some of the stuff's just oddly funny. But
on purpose.
I guess Jess, do you have any other thoughts on Fire Walk with Me?
No, if you like Twin Peaks, you'll like this because it's
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
Yep.
I was afraid Coop wasn't going to be in it. And when he showed up, I was like, yay.
And now for something completely ghoulish. And that is Lost Highway from 1997. We have anonymous videotapes, presage musician's murder conviction, and a gangster's girlfriend leads a mechanic astray. This film kind of feels like the tale of two stories and then are the same story? Question mark.
Yeah, so as someone who doesn't really recognize faces, this was pretty confusing to me.
because like there's definitely a fluidity at points between Madison, the character, Bill Pullman's character,
Mhm.
who gets introduced in the first act of the film, and then it goes in a completely different direction, and then Bill Pullman comes back, and I'm like, are
Yeah.
they the same character?
Yeah, when he came back, I was like, "Oh, this guy."
It's like, is he the mechanic? Is that what is going on here?
Nope.
Is there parallel stories?
Yes.
And are there two Patricia Arquettes?
No.
And well, and that's what's interesting about this film is one,
Wait,
it's
maybe. I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure that's a big piece to
Oh no.
the story. See, even Jess is
Yeah, I thought I
keeping
had
track.
it. Well, again, because I don't recognize faces, I didn't know it was the same character or the
Well,
same actress
she
for a
had
while. I was
very
like,
different hair color.
that's
Like,
what got me. Because the first one, I was like, I don't like this haircut. And the second one, I'm
yes,
like, I like
she
this more.
basically had a less good version of, oh, what's her name? Barbara Stanwyck
She was
from Double Indemnity.
going for the coconut head from Ned's Declassified.
She was going for the Stanwyck from Double Indemnity because the opening sequence of this film was
Mm.
very noirish, and these videotapes are creepy and unnerving. I'm like, is every David Lynch film a horror film?
Yeah. Oops,
Because
all horror.
like that's what it feels like, and you have what's the actor's name? I'm trying to the ghoul, like this
Yeah, yeah,
man
that guy.
that keeps popping up,
They were
and
scary with the video camera.
like every time he pops up, he's so pale.
It would be less menacing now with a phone instead of the
He
full video camera.
he basically has the look of William Sadler's death from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey,
Mm.
except in a normal space, and we're just supposed to accept that this guy
Yeah.
is like supposed to be there.
Didn't I say it reminded me of the death from the Seventh Seal?
Yes, which is also William
Yeah,
Sadler
which
from.
makes sense.
Yes, he looks.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen Bill and
Yeah,
Ted in a while. Guess which movie I saw most recently?
the Seventh Seal.
Yeah.
He
Also kind of confusing
he
too.
also looks like all the aliens from Dark City.
I haven't seen that one.
This film is certainly haunting. It is certainly harrowing. It
Confusing.
is confusing. It has some great noirish feel to it. You can
Mm-hmm.
definitely tell that's what um Lynch was going for in terms of trying to set up this like Patricia Arquette's character, whichever one it is a femme fatale for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, leading men astray.
Yes. And like whether it's like being in a relationship with this gangster played by, oh, what's his name? Robert Loggia. Like
Oh yeah, Dick Laurent.
there's just
Because
so many like Giovanni Ribisi's in this, Richard Pryor's in this,
yeah, I was.
Garrett Busey, Marilyn Manson. There's just so many random people in it, and of course David Lynch pops up in it.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
was like, that's David Lynch.
but this is
No, he looks like.
it's mysterious, it's unnerving from start to finish. It like when it really gets into like those desert sequences at
Mm,
night, it's
mm-hmm.
extra haunting and eerie.
Spooky. There's a lot of stuff in reverse.
Yes, it's very interesting seeing Bill Pullman in this because
Mm-hmm.
most of the films I've seen him in, it's pretty like he's the president of the United States or
Mm-hmm.
he's Lone Star.
Twister. Is he? He's in Twister.
That's Bill Paxton.
Oh, I'm really good at naming actors.
Bill Pullman is from Spaceballs
Okay.
and from Independence Day.
He doesn't have very distinctive features to me, so I think I can't recognize him as well.
Literally, his big four on IMDb are Independence Day Resurgence, Spaceballs, and Lost Highway. So there you go.
All right.
But
Do you like David Lynch? You'll like this movie.
but like, I guess Jess, what are your general thoughts on Lost Highway?
It didn't inspire any dreams from my med, so that was good.
Okay.
Um, I was confused by a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I liked it. I don't know how to explain why.
It's hard to definitively say if you like a David Lynch film because it's
It
like
was an experience.
it's always an experience. And Like, is it narratively satisfying to me? Not really. Like, at least Fire Walk with Me felt narratively satisfying because by the end it got to like where it was supposed to be going.
Well, I've heard Twin Peaks is his most accessible work, so that makes sense.
Well, except for
From
like
someone
Straight
smarter than me.
Story,
Yeah, I mean,
which is literally just about like a farmer guy. Or like I feel like Blue Velvet's more accessible than Twin Peaks is.
oh yeah, well that was around the same era, right?
Blue Velvet's from the 80s.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Also, The Elephant Man is definitely the
All
most
right.
accessible movie
Well,
that he's
whoever
made.
was smarter than me, perhaps they were
Was
smarter.
smarter than me.
Anyway, I thought it sounded good.
Definitely more accessible than
That's
Eraserhead.
my real secret. It's that I just regurgitate things I've read.
Well, Twin Peaks is more accessible than Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, and Inland
It's a
Empire
very
for
interesting
sure.
competition, though.
Yes. Um, it's like studio films that David Lynch did that were like for the normies, and then all the
Kind of
other
like
films.
when we went to the modern art section of the art museum, and I was like, I get it, I think, but I could not explain why.
I think Lost Highway is not for the normies. This definitely is for it's like I I just really enjoyed the aesthetic of that opening act, that really eerie, dark, noirish kind of feel. And that kind of completely shifts away from that to be more of like an LA kind of story feel.
Well, he did love that.
And then he starts pulling the layers back, and then we get back to this noirish feel by the end, and also back to Bill Pullman. I'm like, well, he's back.
I would not watch this with my mom.
I'm like, what happened to the mechanic in all of this? And
oh, he'll be back. Maybe.
I just like this is definitely one of those films that is hard to rate or completely judge on first viewing. Like I felt like Fire Walk with Me in connection with Twin Peaks made a lot of like by the end it made a lot of sense what was going for by the end. Sure, there's intermittent things where I'm like, what the hell was that? But this was not intermittent. What the hell was that? This was what the hell was that?
Yeah, we were both probably equally lost.
From On the Highway.
Yeah, the Wikipedia for this didn't help me that much.
Well, it's one of those kinds of things where I'm like,
sometimes I'm like, am I stupid?
Things are happening. And they're creeping me out. And I think that's the goal. So yeah.
You do like that though.
Well, that's the thing. You cannot watch a David Lynch film and not be like, that was you can't say that wasn't interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's like I say all the time. You didn't have to explain the midichlorians. It's like J.R.R. Tolkien never explains that.
Jess is right back
you don't have to explain everything.
Being very angry at George Lucas for ruining Star Wars with the prequels.
I'm still not calling them ats. They don't call them ats. I'll die on these 2 hills.
George Lucas had nothing to do with David Lynch and nothing to do with this.
1v1 me, George Lucas. Meet me outside somewhere. You're choosing.
Now, Jess, do you have anything else to say about Lost Highway and not George Lucas?
No.
Okay. We're gonna leave you at that. I know this was not the most cohesive or easy to follow film analysis that we've done on here.
Like a David Lynch movie.
But like that's what you're dealing with. You need to watch Lost Highway at least a couple times, I feel like, to really grasp it. Yeah, and at least I know I have to. Just turning over and looking at my Mulholland Drive criterion that I have, because like I said, it took me 4 times to feel like I was finally scratching the surface of exactly what was going on. But shout out to Bill Pullman, shout out to Patricia Arquette in particular. I think she was very seductive and mysterious.
As both those women.
Robert Loggia was definitely unnerving and intense, and most importantly, Robert Blake, Mystery Man. What the hell were you doing? You scared the crap out of me, and I did not appreciate it. But those are our thoughts on Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, and Lost Highway. But Jess, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you again for picking Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Jess needs to figure out what she's picking for next month, so I don't have a little tease for you for next month. But next week, we're gonna get much more less weird and more depressing because I'm going to be talking about Schindler's List and Life is Beautiful,
Okay.
double the Holocaust
Wow, what a great
movies
Easter
here
viewing.
with Mike. Yes, just
Nice Easter view.
why would that be an Easter viewing?
It's because Candace's mom showed her
Ah,
husband.
it was an inside joke, not an actual reference to Easter.
No, it
Because
wasn't. A friend of mine's
Easter
mom.
is for us Christians over here.
No, it was just because a friend of mine's mom picked out Boy in the Striped Pajamas because she thought it was an Easter movie.
Well, we're not watching that one. We're
Yeah,
watching
needless to
Schindler's
say, it
List.
was in fact not an Easter movie.
I need to schedule my
She kinda ruined Easter.
3+ hours of Schindler's List into my busy week
Oh
this week.
yeah, schedule it without me because woof. That's
I don't
rough
know,
viewing.
Jess. You might be watching some
That's
of it.
good viewing, but it's rough.
And then Life is Beautiful. I almost picked something darker, but I'm just like, you know what? I need a
Darker than Schindler's List?
no darker than Life is
I was
Beautiful.
gonna say, like, what?
At least Life is Beautiful. Life is Beautiful is half of it's a rom-com.
Okay.
Yeah, the first half of the movie is a rom-com.
No, I just thought you meant darker.
And then it remembers that, oh wait, this is supposed to be a Holocaust film. But some interesting thoughts about that movie. You should tune in next week and listen to Mike and I's discussion about it. But anyway, thank you all for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. Are you a Lynch fan? Do you like that Lynchian type of filmmaking?
Use the word Lynchian. People will be impressed.
Yes, they'll be like a true cinephile.
But
what's your favorite David Lynch film or project? And make sure to like, comment, and share, like I said, and follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding to the point where I don't think I could keep up with all these podcasts anymore, but I'm doing my best. But if you want to get involved, check out our website and you can either start your own podcast and keep increasing the number of ones that I listen to, or you can join as a guest on any of our podcasts, including one that seems to be pretty popular for me is the Wasteland watch list, where you have to watch the movie that I randomly select from my watch list, which has 8,400 movies on it. And if you like our logo, make sure to check out High Fly Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network.